Hey, what's up guys? Today we're going to be looking at The Days When My Mother Was There from the Persona 5 soundtrack. This one was pretty highly requested, which, I guess that makes sense. The guitar part in it is really nice, and I had a lot of fun learning it for the video. And for some reason this palace, this is the theme for the 4th palace of the game, which I'm not going to spoil who the palace is for or whatever, but it's the desert one. For some reason it just left a bad taste in my mouth. I think I got stuck on a certain part forever. Regardless, the music is amazing in it. As I've been doing with my more recent videos, I'm going to put a song through with the tab scroll at the bottom of the screen so you can follow along with that. Then after I'm done playing through it, I'll come back and give tips or whatever, just run through the technique. Really quickly though, before I start playing it, I need to plug my guitar lessons that I started giving. So I just recently started giving online guitar lessons. I'm going to leave a link to my email address in the description of the video. If you're interested in a cheap online lesson over Zoom or whatever, you can contact me that way. Alright, with that being said, I'm going to play the song now. Alright, welcome back. We're just going to quickly go over a couple parts of the song and some of the techniques I used. So, the guitar part starts out like this. So, I'm not going to go through everything note for note, because I don't think it's necessary. You can see the tab. By the way, the tab's in the description, if I didn't mention that already. I don't think I did in this video. I think we can use this song as a good example of really fretting each note with the intent of playing the next note properly. So that's just basically using good fretting technique. What I mean by that is, see how I'm sliding up to the first note, which is the 9th fret on the G string? Sliding up to it with my middle finger instead of my first finger, which is more natural to a lot of people, but I'm sliding up with my middle finger for the sole purpose of playing this 8th fret on the B string right after it. Because if I slid up with my first finger, it's not setting me up to play the next note properly. And that's going to be a common theme throughout almost any song you learn on guitar. Just fretting the note with the correct fingering to set yourself up for the next phrase or section of the song. So as we continue here, we have this, I've kind of showcased this in previous tutorial videos. So it's a hammer-on basically, right? From 8 to 10 on the B string. But instead of just a normal hammer-on, I'm adding a little bit of flavor by picking the 8th fret right before I hammer it on again. So that's what that is. I always preach it's the little stuff like this that's gonna make your playing it's going to take your playing up to the next level. So the next part I wanted to look at was this little bend in the next phrase. So I guess I just wanted to hit home the point of making sure your bends are really in tune here, because I see a lot of people bending out of tune and it bugs the hell out of me. So this is a half step bend. So basically what that means is you're bending up, this is a B, and you're only going up to the next half step. So you're trying to make this B sound like a C, as opposed to a whole step bend, which would be trying to make it sound like a C sharp. So you only want to do a small bend, and it's important because you're going to basically be holding that note for like the duration of, I think in this case it's like a quarter note. So you want to make sure that's really in tune and it sounds good. You can practice that by first playing the note that you're trying to bend up to. In this case it's the C, and try and just bend up and match the pitch that you just played. So that's a C, and yeah, that's a way you can practice it. But yeah, just make sure your bends are in tune, please. So skipping ahead, there's another bend. This one's actually a whole step bend. So we have a D, we want an E, and practice that. That's the note you want, right? Okay, we're gonna skip ahead to the chorus. So this is what I consider to be the chorus when it goes like this. So you have that. It starts out, you know, easy enough. You can look at the tabs for that part, it's all there. But there is one part about halfway through the chorus that I wanted to have time to talk about, which is this. This is actually where it gets pretty difficult. So the way I transcribed it was like this. So I could go in and talk about every note of this phrase, but I don't think it's super vital to like understand each note. I think it's just something you have to practice. I will say quickly that it's good to practice your alternate picking, and I am picking every single one of these notes minus the little hammer-on and pull-off thing here. So that ending bit, that's how I transcribed it. That's just what I heard when I listened to the song. The guitar does something kind of weird there. I'm not 100% sure, but this is how I heard it. So I just have a hammer-on from 12 to 14 on the D string, and then a hammer-on from 12 to 14 on the G string, and each 12th fret, that's essentially a ghost note. It's less than a 30-second note. I'm just trying to get through that note as soon as possible and land on the 14th fret of each string. So if that makes any sense. So the whole thing sounds like this. Then there's this. So yeah, it's difficult, but definitely not undoable. You know, just practice it, look at the tab. There's one more part I wanted to look at though, which is, so this is what I'm 90% sure the guitar is doing there. So you have this little double stop. This is how I chose to transcribe it. So again, you can see it on the tab, but this is a part that's maybe a little bit more confusing. So I'm gonna have my 3rd finger on the 9th fret of the G string. Then I'm gonna have my 1st finger on the 7th fret of the B string pre-placed. And I'm gonna pluck it like that. But as soon as I pluck it, there's a hammer on from 7 to 8 on the B string. So like that, hit the 8th fret again, and that's a slide down to the 5th fret on the B string. So that's what we have so far. Pluck the 5th fret again. Then we have this beautiful minor second. This is the best way to do this one. So I simply remove my finger from the B string and leave an open B string. Put my first finger on the 5th fret of the G string. So again, that's 5th fret G string, open B string. Beautiful. So those are all the parts that I feel sort of needed to be talked about, like the hardest parts and the parts that I felt like I transcribed in a way that might not be super intuitive. But regardless, if you have any questions, just send me an email. I'll happily answer any questions if you send them to my email address. Yeah, leave more suggestions in the comments. I always like hearing more. And that's about it. Thanks for watching.